Hi and welcome to today's reading. Today's reading is a general collective reading, picking up on a couple of energies, and I'm going to see where this reading goes. I think the two energies that I'm picking up on align, and originally I was doing them as two separate readings, but the more I kind of sunk into the energy, the more I'm feeling like it is one reading. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energies prior to a reading. I'll then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify the messages that I am receiving. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. So if you're called to any of those decks, the links to them can be found in the description box. If the reading resonates with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I do post regularly. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified when a new reading goes up. So I did a pre-shuffle of the cards, and the card that I got out was the Nine of Swords. Now, the Nine of Swords is Mars in Gemini. Gemini rules the mind. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is communication. It's the thoughts that you have. And the message that was coming through prior to the reading was, what are you healing? And what haven't you healed that's currently holding you back? The other phrase I was getting was the need for a tiny bit more courage than fear. Now, the songs that I was getting, I've done quite a bit of driving over the last few days. And I just put my playlist on Spotify just on random shuffle. And I take notice of repeating songs. Now I've got probably 5,000 songs on my liked song playlist. So as I said, when repeating songs come up, it's synchronicities. And if you are intuitive and you use music as a way that you communicate with your guides, or you're wanting to, take notice of things that repeat, songs that repeat. Now I probably over the last few days have heard songs from the Truman Show every time I've put my songs on random shuffle. Today, I had to drive an hour to and from a trip. And I got 4 songs from the Truman Show in that trip alone. And the other thing I got was a song called Auditory Hallucination. Now, an auditory hallucination is somebody who... Well, it's from a Korean drama series called Kill Me, Heal Me. And it's about a guy who has childhood trauma. And because he doesn't do anything about it, he ends up with multiple personality disorder. And he has all of these, he hears things basically from unhealed trauma. So that line that I was getting, what are you healing? Now, when I think of the Truman Show, and I only watched that probably 12 months ago maybe, I actually thought it was a show, like a series, but it's not. It's actually a movie if you haven't watched it. And it's about a guy who is an orphan, and he's selected because he has no parents to be the main character in a TV show that's kind of run, I think, for 35, 40 years. It's a reality TV show where every person in the show, except for him, because he's playing himself, everybody in the TV show except for him is an actor, paid to play a part, and there's product placements, and but he's totally unaware. He's totally unaware that he's being manipulated. And to keep him in the TV show, because of course they're making money off manipulating his life, they create all of these storylines, these trauma storylines, which makes him fearful of leaving. So to leave the town, and it's this whole town like a stage set, to leave the town, he has to cross the bridge. But they make up this storyline that his father drowned. Now, his father was an actor who was playing his father. They made up this storyline that his father drowned, so he's too scared to leave. What are you healing? And through the course of the movie, he works out that it's all a lie. What I'm picking up on here is that there's a trauma. You've had some sort of trauma in your life, unhealed trauma, that's keeping you trapped in some capacity. The other thing that came through is, and very, very strongly, specifically with that song, Auditory Hallucination. I've got this book, and I have spoken about it in previous readings. It's called When the Body Says No. Now, Gabor Mate, and I think that's how you pronounce his surname, is a Canadian physician, so a Canadian doctor. The hidden cost of stress. He's a healer that basically has spent his life studying the relationship between stress and illness. And what he has found is that, and specifically women who in families carry the emotional load of their family, the emotional wear and tear, the emotional stress of their family in life, if that's not addressed, it then manifests into a physical symptom. Nine of Swords, up at night. And you may not realize the connection between the two. And I'll give you an example of this. Something that I'm going through at the moment with one of my children who had 17 years of anaphylaxis. So anaphylaxis is life-threatening food allergies. So her body, when you have anaphylaxis, your body is in fight or flight constantly on alert. So at the end of the 17 years, when she finally outgrew her allergies, her immune system was absolutely shattered. And she then developed an autoimmune neurological condition because her body had said no. There was another example I was thinking of as I was doing the pre-shuffle of this reading. There is a horse, and you may or may not have heard of him. In the 1920s, there was an Australian horse called Phar this massive big horse. And he was the fastest horse in the world. Huge, massive, big heart he had, like literally, physically, a massive heart. Huge horse, but with this huge heart. And his owners wanted to win. And so they entered him in all of these races. And because everybody thought that it was unfair because he was so much bigger, they weighted him down. So he carried all of this extra weight that he would then run with across, I don't know how long a horse race is, however long a horse race is. And eventually, his body just said no. When the Body Says No, the name of that book. And the horse had a heart attack and died. So what this reading, this reading is about your health. And whatever stress or toxicity that you are in, or maybe you've left the toxicity behind. If you think of the Truman Show, the show is about him trying to leave. But if it's not addressed, it's potentially going to manifest in other ways. Now, in terms of, as I said, Gemini and Mercury rules the mind. Have a look at where Mercury falls in your chart. Have a look what you've got in the astrological sign of Gemini. The 6th house, have a look what is in the 6th house. If you have any planets in the 6th house in your chart, the 6th house is health. Have a look what's in your 12th house. The 12th house is prisoners or imprisonment. What planet is in there? The other thing I'm quickly going to run through is all the different astrological signs and where they connect to your body. So in this book, there is story after story after story of all these people. So for example, one of the stories I read was about a lady who had lots and lots of childhood stress. And then in her later years, it manifested as MS or multiple sclerosis. These things that start to happen to your body and you've got no idea where they've come from, but it's from your body just saying, actually, you've not done any work to heal your mind. And so it then manifests in another way. It's almost like the dam has to break and it's got to flow into some other section. So Aries is the head, Taurus is the throat, Gemini is the lungs, the hand and the nervous system, Cancer is the breast and the stomach, Leo is the heart, Virgo is the upper intestine, Libra is the kidneys, Scorpio is the lower intestine and the reproductive organs, Sagittarius is the thighs, Capricorn is the knees, Aquarius is the lower limbs, and Pisces is the feet. Now, I'm not saying that something is going to happen in those particular areas, but just have a look in your chart. Dig a bit deeper in your chart and see what comes out. So that's the Nine of Swords. I'm going to pop him there. I'm going to actually have a look and see what is on the bottom of this deck. The Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is Neptune in Libra. When you think about Neptune, it is the bottom of the ocean. Going, like I said, having a look into your chart. Having a look into things in your mind that you're either currently healing or that you know you should be healing. And Libra is balance. That maybe are having the relationship between stress and illness, an imbalance in your life, the world, Saturn, your karmic teacher. This is a time, the world is the end of a cycle. This is the time to have a look at what you need to mentally heal. Let's get a message. This is my Divine Messages Oracle deck. Perfect match. There's a syncing up between whatever your trauma is. There's a connection between whatever your trauma is and whatever physical symptoms appear. And it's easy to misdiagnose. If you can hear those kookaburras. It's easy to misdiagnose. And in our instance, you know, we spent a couple of years, well, and still, it's an ongoing journey with the neurologist trying to actually work out, you know, where symptoms are coming from. It's not black and white. So let's see where we go. What do I want to do? Let's do this deck. That's the Judgment card. That's Pluto. That's transformation. What I'm hearing is it's an unearthing of a connection that you may not have made between trauma or stress and illness. Something that's been happening to you, physically happening to you, that's the physical manifestation of trauma. And it can be something as simple as overeating or drinking or drug use, any sort of addictions. Or it can go down into the realms of sexual abuse or physical abuse or parental abuse, which then manifests. Judgment is, if you look at that card, the way I drew that card, look at all the little eyes on there. It's time to address it. A tiny bit more courage than fear. Nine of Pentacles, it's time to address it. Nine of Pentacles is the card of liberation. Oh, look at that. Nine of Pentacles, that is Venus in Virgo. That Venus in Virgo card for me is my Mother Mary card. It's time to nurture yourself. You think of Mother Mary, the ultimate divine feminine, Mother Mary, Mother Gaia, nurturing yourself. It's time to nurture yourself. Venus in Virgo, and as I said before, Virgo is your health. I think the 6th house is actually ruled by Virgo, which is your health. Virgo is also your upper intestine. Nine of Pentacles. And the Wheel of Fortune. Once you actually address, or once you make the connection between these two things, stress and illness, then things change exponentially. Once in that series, Kill Me, Heal Me, where that song Auditory Hallucination came from, once he started seeing a psychiatrist, they basically unlocked the trauma. Once Truman worked out that he was living in a TV show and that the only thing that was stopping him was his fear, once he actually learned that the person who played his father was an actor, it unraveled that fear. A bit more courage than fear. It's a release. We've got the Four of Wands under there, which is Venus in Aries. The Hermit, that's Virgo. It's a going within, it's a spiritual awakening, a form of a spiritual awakening. It's a soul searching. The Hermit card is also Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. What I'm getting from this, Nine of Swords, you are a wounded warrior walking around with all of this stress, all of this trauma that's potentially manifesting into illness. And it may be trauma that somebody else has placed on you, as in the Truman Show. It may mean that you are highly empathic and you pick up on, you're the healer for people in your surroundings. Almost what I heard was wearing the trauma like a badge of honor. You go into bat for people, but then at what cost to your own body? The Strength card. Perhaps you come across as people's strength in their time of need. And actually, an example of that is at the end of 2019, when my child was going through huge medical stuff, huge, the biggest. I was also caring for a friend of mine who had terminal illness. And I was making meals and doing this and doing 1,000 things for everybody. And obviously doing that for my own child who was going through her own illness as well. Everybody else's rock, but I wore the cost of that. And part of what was that I then went through this huge spiritual awakening because I was just at the bottom of the bottom. Maybe that's what this is, the catalyst for a spiritual awakening. But within that, you make a connection between some sort of past stress or trauma and how it's manifesting physically in your body. The Strength card, you have to be the strength for yourself. That's Leo and the Sun. Okay, let's have a look at this Judgment card. What have we got on the bottom? The Devil. Now that's toxicity, trauma from your past. The Devil is Capricorn. Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn is your karmic teacher. There needs to be some sort of release, otherwise it's going to come out in a different way. Look at this Judgment card. The Devil and the Five of Pentacles. As I said, Devil is Capricorn. Capricorn is Saturn. Devil is toxicity. The Five of Pentacles is Mercury in Taurus. The original drawing of that card is two people are out in the cold outside a church. Your body's going to give way if you let this toxicity fester in it. And that's what the Judgment is here. And as I said, it can be something that you've had no control over. It can be something, potentially, if you've had some sort of childhood illness or something like that. Physically, your body's worn the load for too long. But if it's trauma related, it is something that you can, on a mental level, start to heal. And you will get. The Nine of Pentacles is liberation, freedom. The Wheel of Fortune is something fated, something that was meant to happen on your journey in this lifetime, and potentially a catalyst for change, a catalyst for some sort of spiritual awakening. The Nine of Pentacles. Let's have a look at the Nine of Pentacles. The Chariot, taking you. We've got the Chariot, so liberation, freedom, and the Chariot. The Chariot moves you, takes you from one place to another. That's gorgeous. Okay, Wheel of Fortune. I will list that book in the description box. The Five of Cups. Cups are emotions. That's Mars in Scorpio. It's death and rebirth. When I think of Mars, I think of a match because it's fire. I want to say a fear of missing out. Maybe you have a health scare, some sort of health scare that lights that fire, that makes this change, that instigates this change. Five's a change. 5 and a 5. Let's have a look at this Hermit card. Yeah, that's a truth. Now, the King of Swords is Uranus in Libra. Uranus is earthquakes. Some sort of, I want to say health scare, or some sort of revelation. Uranus is surprising events. If you think of an earthquake, you can't predict it. Tears your world apart. King of Swords is a truth. And King of Swords is Uranus in Libra. A truth that is meant to bring balance. Because the relationship for you between stress and illness, there's an imbalance. Ace of Wands, it's lighting a fire under an imbalance in your life. Aries, Leo, Sag. Giving you the strength to make the change that you need in whatever area this is. And it may be just a recognition, if I look at the Truman Show, a recognition that where you are, if you are in a toxic situation that's affecting your health, recognizing that there's an imbalance in that and you need to make a change. Free yourself. The Devil here is potentially there's people, toxic people in your life holding you, but you've ultimately got the power. Yeah, holding you. 8 of Swords on the bottom. Now that is Jupiter in Gemini. So Jupiter is the Wheel of Fortune and Gemini is the mind. I said that before. Gemini and Mercury represents the mind. What wants to come out under there? 2 of Cups. Something that the 2 of Cups is a soul connection that you have. Now, it can be a soul connection that you have with somebody in your life that is in devil energy, that is toxic, where it's affecting you physically, as in, you know, somebody who is physically. It could be somebody that is mentally, I want to use the word, mind manipulating you. And that's having a effect on you physically. As I said before, it might be making you overeat, overdrink, overconsume things that are toxic. It could be a relationship that you've had in your past, childhood trauma, that isn't healed, which then manifests into physical symptoms. You may not be at a stage where it is coming across, but into physical, or you may not even realize the connection between things that are happening in your body physically and things that have happened in the past mentally. But that is Jupiter in Gemini. Now that's a current placement in the sky at the moment. It's there for 12 months, June this year through till June 2025. It's a freeing yourself. Currently, the North Node is in Aries. Aries is self. Aries is self. Releasing from the South Node, which is your comfort zone, the trauma that you're stuck in, the stress that you're stuck in, and that's in Libra. Now, how many Libras have we had? Libra is cutting things out of your life that keep you stuck. The initial line that was coming through prior to this reading, what are you healing? A tiny bit more courage than fear. The courage is the courage to walk towards your North Node, which is self, putting yourself first, and releasing toxic people, toxic patterns, toxic past trauma in order to focus on yourself. And many people have started this journey. As I said, for me, I've said it in many readings, but COVID for me was the beginning phase of putting myself first, because I couldn't continue doing all the things that I was doing because we were in lockdown. It's almost, it was almost God's way of giving everybody a reset. And that title of that book, when the body says no, if you choose not to do it, it is going to manifest. Or as I said, it already has begun. 8 of Swords on the bottom. Let's have a look. Yeah, the Tower. Something's going to come crashing down if you don't address what this is. Either removing yourself from the toxicity or starting to do the healing work. And healing work is painful because you're basically going into an area of your life that has been too painful to address. If I think about that guy in that K-drama, his body, because he couldn't cope with the pain, created multiple personalities to deal with each aspect. Something's going to come crashing down. It's almost like you go into a coping. And I'll give you an example. And I was thinking about my channel today, and I was thinking, you know, I'm 50. How much information is too much information? But I believe that people are guided to watch videos. How I express myself on this channel is about the personal experience that I've had in my 50 years. It comes out through the drawings on my cards, through everything. So, you know, and I've said it before in a previous reading, I went through a sexual assault in my first year at university, nearly 30 years ago. I remember dealing with that trauma, and I dealt with it really, really well. But I remember before I went out that night, I'd always been a heavier girl, but before I went out that night, I'd actually lost a heap of weight in sort of the 6-12 months before I went out, like in the 6 to 12 months before starting university. And I remember looking in the mirror that night and thinking, you look amazing. I felt so good in my mind, but good physically. I just felt really, really good. I felt like I looked nice. But parts of that trauma actually manifested into almost a reverse eating disorder, in the fact that I'm fearful. I'm a bigger girl still, but I put on weight because in my mind, the weight keeps me safe from something like that happening again 30 years down the line. And as I'm doing this reading, I'm thinking about that. And which is why I was like, how much do I... But if me saying that sparks something in you, and I know when I go to my regular doctor's visits, it's eventually going to come up that weight equates to, a higher risk for diabetes and a higher risk for, all these other things. There's some sort of link in here between a past trauma and what's currently happening in your body. The Tower is Mars energy. Number 16, the Ace of Cups Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Cups are your emotions. Something that you've suppressed, that you've not healed. Or as I said, like the Truman Show, some sort of mental mind manipulation that is keeping you from your freedom. Some sort of trauma. And in that scenario, you know, they were deliberately traumatizing him because they got financial gain from it. I mean, I don't know if you've got a family who gets some sort of reward from keeping you stuck. Yeah, some sort of family. That's the Hierophant. The Hierophant, is the soul contract that you have with the man upstairs, that you are meant to experience this in your lifetime. But part of experiencing this is to unearth what's really underneath so that you can liberate yourself. Like Truman, he had to work out what was really going on so he could liberate himself. That guy in that K-drama, he had to. I mean, I think he was in his 30s or 40s by the time he actually went and saw somebody. But in doing that, he actually got down to the depths of what was actually going on, why he had all these personalities. And it was the key to his liberation. Yeah, something's been going on a long time. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight. So something hidden. Maybe something that you are fearful emotionally to address because it's too painful. But when you do, when you address those fears, it's death and rebirth. It's a new life. What's that song? It's a new life. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. And I'm feeling good. It's freedom. It's liberation. On the bottom, the Page of Cups. It's a new beginning. A new beginning potentially of self-love. The Page of Cups is the moon in Pisces. Pisces is your spirituality. It's the Hermit is a spiritual awakening, a dark night of the soul, a tearing things down to start again. That's what that is. Okay, let's get, what advice do your guides have for you in this situation? Yeah, evolution of the soul. Love is the greatest healer. Spying energy. And ascension. Okay, what we've got here. Now, the spying energy, I'm not taking that as anything nefarious. I'm taking that as, like I said to you, I had to think today about how much information I gave about my own journey, my own spiritual journey. But in giving you that information, if one person comes to this reading who has experienced that specific scenario or a similar thing to, what was in the Truman Show, or a similar thing to what was in that K-drama, or a similar thing to, what was happening with my daughter. If you're on the outside looking in, spying energy, and you get a nugget of wisdom, then I'm more than happy to share my story. Because part of, I believe, me reading tarot cards is to help you spiritually ascend, to heal, to actually break down things that maybe you're intuitively picking up on, but you haven't, you're wanting extra confirmation. And it's nice when you hear that somebody else has gone through the same thing. It gives you strength. Maybe you're feeling really alone. Maybe you'll go out and buy that book, and there'll be, as I said, there's hundreds of stories in there, all different people. Maybe there'll be a story in there of somebody with the same symptoms as you, and you'll go, oh, that's what it is. Maybe you've spent the last 5 years, like we have, at a neurologist trying to dig deeper into what's actually going on with your body. Ascension. It's meant to, this reading is meant to give you a different perspective. Reinvention. And this reading's not for everybody, but it is for someone, because clearly those messages are coming through. As I said, those songs from the Truman Show and that auditory hallucination song, they have been on repeat. But my songs are on random shuffle. There's no reason why they would come through so frequently. Let's have a look. A moon oracle. It's a full moon in Scorpio. Let go of the negativity. Scorpio is death and rebirth, a new beginning for you. Perhaps you've been hard on yourself. The full moon in Pisces is here, time to shake things up. Perhaps you've been really hard on yourself. Carrying the load. Almost, just heard when the bow breaks, the cradle will fall. And down will come baby cradle and all. Why I got that, I have no idea. The Hermit card, I think I said before, Chiron is the Hermit card, the wounded healer. Maybe you've been carrying too much of a load. Let go of the negativity. Let go of the burdens. Okay, mutable moon, where nothing is carved in stone. Now, a mutable moon, I'm not sure how often it happens, but the moon changes from sign to sign. So just say the moon today is in Pisces and then tomorrow it goes into Aries. I don't know how it works. But the transition from... Can you hear that ambulance? That's health. That's a sign that you actually need to do a health checkup. And any weird and wonderful little things that you haven't spoken to your doctor about, you actually need to bring up. Okay, getting back to this mutable moon. A mutable moon is where, when the moon moves from one astrological sign to the next, there's a period of time, and it can go from up between 12 and 24 hours, where it's literally sitting in no man's land. It's not in one sign, or it's like it's left one but hasn't quite gone into the other. This is where you are. Judgment. Going from one phase to the next, making the connection between stress and trauma and illness. And if this isn't about you, and you're picking up, you've got in your mind somebody around you where you can see synchronicities with what I'm saying, then maybe you're meant to be the catalyst for, their change. Hey, I know you're getting these weird symptoms. Maybe you should go to the doctor. Could be a child, a husband, a friend, a parent. But there's some sort of connection between stress and trauma and illness. Let's have a look. I hope it's getting quite dark. I hope I'm not losing the light. Let's have a look at what angel is protecting you. Reconciliation, love, and fertility. So reconciliation is a reconciliation with yourself, a healing of that trauma. Love and fertility, pouring love back into yourself. Fertility is abundance. So that you are not feeding the trauma anymore and it's not manifesting physically in your body. 48, VAL. Number 11, Luvia, victory. Getting a victory over whatever it is. 55. Now 5-5, that's change, good deeds and soul growth. And number 24, general protection. Okay, let's get your nodes of destiny. So North Node is currently in Aries, South Node is in Libra. The North Node in the 10th house. If your North Node is kicking it in the 10th house, say goodbye to that codependency. It's time to strut your stuff and unleash your purpose on the world. Trust me, we're all in for a treat. Now, I think of Truman in that instance, releasing himself from the trauma bond that he had because the truth was revealed. I'm not going to get you a song and I'm not going to get you a love message. I am going to get you Scrabble tiles. Now, this could be your first, middle, last initial, could be something else pertaining to whatever this is. As I said, if you're picking up the energy of somebody around you, could be their initial. Just take it as it resonates. Okay, so we have a U and a 1, an L and a 1, an S and a 1, an E and a 1, a P and a 3, a R and a 1, a Z and a 10, a W and a 4, a B and a 3, an X and an 8, a V and a 4, a D and a 2, a Q and a 10, an M and a 3, a C and a 3, an I and a 1, a J and an 8, a Y and a 4, a K and a 5, a H and a 4, and a T and a 1. So I hope this reading was helpful. I hope there was messages in here that gave you confirmation of potentially things that you've already been picking up on intuitively. I will list the name of that book and the name of those shows in the description box. If you want to take a look at those, might give you just some more information. I wish you all the best on your journey. If the reading resonated with you, give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you are interested in any of my tarot or oracle decks, the links to those can be found in the description box. And a huge, like this big bubble has just flown over my back fence. The kids must be playing. There's a message in that. I think of Glenda, the good witch from the north, who flew in The Wizard of Oz. It was big, big bubble. There's a message in that for somebody. If you are interested in any of my tarot or oracle decks, the links to those can be found in the description box. Looking forward to seeing you again in another reading, and I will leave it here for now. Wishing you a lovely rest of the day.